Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's have a very round of applause for Meeta and Urvish for making this happen. This is one of the versatile conference, at least I have seen in the city of Ahmedabad. Huge kudos to the people and organizer. Thank you so much. All right. So the topic is about the development and expansion. Any idea how many hospitals Ahmedabad city does have? Any rough idea? How many hospitals do we have in the city of Ahmedabad? I'll tell you the numbers which is coming to the Google. I just Googled it. It is 1894. I think close to 2,000 hospitals are thriving in this city, sir. And still we are talking about expansion. So very apt topic to discuss. I'll keep it very short. I'll just ask each of you to just elaborate on your own experiences as to what are the strategies going behind when we talk about development and existing infrastructure or making a new hospital, taking a greenfield projects, talking about merger and acquisitions. What are the strategies and what are the formula or indicators or any data you take into consideration while we are talking about expanding? Starting with you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think you have given a good start. There are 2,000 hospitals in Ahmedabad, and still people still talk in terms of increasing the facilities, increasing the size of the hospital, etc. The reason I think one of the participants mentioned that we have about 1.3 beds per 1,000, whereas we should be having about 3 at least. That is the rationale. We have a population of almost 145 crores. We don't have adequate beds. There's a lopsided kind of a distribution. There is no two ways about it. But you are never going to have big hospitals in district or taluka places. It is not going to ever happen. So eventually what is going to happen is a hub and spoke kind of a model. So the big hospitals need to become bigger and bigger. So that is exactly how it works. From our own this thing, a lot of hospitals, in fact, planned their expansion during the time of COVID. They already were down as far as utility is concerned, but they actually anticipated, okay, this is the projected kind of a usage and all that. So most of these demands will come from your marketing department or administration department, who say that, well, if you see the last 5 years or 10 years occupancy, it is increasing. The best of the occupancy today, if you see, the best of the balance sheets, if you analyze, be it Apollo or Max or anything, normally if you have 100 beds, you should think that you will have an 85% to 90% occupancy. It never happens. Sometimes it becomes 110%, yes, but if you really analyze it across the year, 65 to 70% is the maximum occupancy you will have. But revenue-wise, it's a very good thing where you are left with surplus kind of a revenue. We saw just now, from Narayana, that 19 to 25% is their margin. So that is enough fodder for thinking for expansion. So when the expansion comes, what do we really do is, first and foremost is, you evaluate the whole scenario that should we really be doing this, yes or no. Many good successes have been completely destroyed by a wrong policy of expansion. This is something which we must understand. Merely because you can expand because you have money, should you really do it? So there has to be a brainstorming with all the stakeholders, all the entire administration, the board of directors, everybody sitting there. So that is the basic thing. Once you decide that, yes, we will expand, then the size of the expansion. Suppose you have a 200-bedded hospital or a 100-bedded hospital. How did we really do it? We are a chain of cancer hospitals. We have, by the end of next year, we'll have practically about 1,000 beds under our wing, but located at almost about 7 different locations across the country. The largest will be approximately around 200 beds. The smallest at one location is 50 beds. And these are all cancer hospitals predominantly, which means that 70 to 80% are assigned for cancer treatment and 20% is for the supplemental this thing like cardiology, nephrology, gastroenterology, respiratory medicine, etc. Because you need those disciplines to take care of your oncology department. So when we decided to expand, our strategy was very, very simple. Go to places where there is an unmet need. There is no point in going to Delhi and putting another cancer hospital. There is no point in coming into Ahmedabad and putting another cancer hospital. Same thing with Bangalore. So we decided on all those locations, including Srinagar, including Bhubaneswar, including Pune, including Indore. So all these places did not really have good kind of centers for oncology treatment. So that is exactly we decided about the expansion. And when you do that, then the whole thing is like what our friend who, how do you establish a new center? We evaluated all those parameters. So, the HR planning is done, all the manpower, this thing is decided, the financial planning is done, the architectural team. What we found single most important is, the regulatory compliances are very, very important. It did not, we had very good teams and we had very good advisors who took care of all that. Your company secretary needs to be very good. Your legal advisors need to be good. Because what happens in they have extremely, now the regulatory requirements for hospitals today are so strong that, you can't really expand your hospital without consideration for compliance with legal kind of rules. In Mumbai, you have a restriction that more than 45 meters, you can't really raise the height of your hospital. So you say, okay, 150 beds, I have a 17-storied building, let me make it 20 stories. Not going to happen. You do that remaining thing also goes. So that is exactly how it happens. Number two, the proportion, number of parkings, what you need. That if you have so many beds, so many parkings are required, you increase the number of beds, that is going to be a problem. You're running a medical college, the proportion between the number of medical students, if you're going to increase, your beds in the hospital have to increase. So, it's like multiple balls hanging together with threads. You move one ball, everything, the whole structure moves. So, your team, the management team has to actually take care of the whole thing, whole structure, and you can do that. And finally, everything, the bottleneck ultimately comes to arrangement of finance. So the finance, whether it's going to be an internal generation, whether it's going to be a loan, whether it's going to be a partner, equity, all that particular thing has to be actually decided. It is always better. It is always said that the Japanese are the best executors of a plan. What they do is probably they keep on having meetings for over 1 year, and in the next 9 months they'll implement everything absolutely like a absolute plan. So I think that is probably the best way to go, and this is what we have always followed.
Thank you so much, sir. It was very comprehensively elaborated, all the touch points, finance, regulatory compliances, manpower planning, market assessment, at a finest way to touch. Thank you so much. Moving to Dr. Rakesh, what are your take-ons? I mean, on the Shalby perspective, just taking the hospitals at every city, every state, what are your strategies?
Yeah. So good evening everyone. First of all, thank you to the organizers for having me over here. I represent Shalby Hospitals. Shalby Hospitals is our own Ahmedabad-based hospital, started with 6-bedded nursing home and currently having 2,500 beds pan-India. So hospital expansion is one of the practices which Shalby has been following in Gujarat market. So certain things which we keep in mind. So I'll give you a real type example. We have recently opened a hospital in Gurugram, Delhi. So why did we move to Gurugram? The very reason was that our mission statement is to diversify and establish multi-specialty care across geographies. As everyone knows, we are world leaders in joint replacement. So Gurugram was to increase our market share. When I say about market share, international business, which we all face, all Ahmedabad, the bigger hospitals, administration will agree. We don't get direct flights from abroad coming to Ahmedabad for treatment. So that's why we, being a listed company and a reputed brand, we thought of having Gurugram as our hospital. And that hospital works on 70% of international business and 30% domestic business. So that was a market share penetration we wanted to have. So that is how the Gurugram did happen. At the same time, we have recently opened a hospital in Rajkot last month. So again, it is a tier 2 and tier 3 city, as narrated by sir briefly, that there is a huge demand of a quality care across the geographies, and that is how we have opened our hospital in Rajkot. Talking about strategy, there are two types of expansions can happen. One is the horizontal and second is the vertical. When we talk about horizontal expansion, you do it, the purpose of doing horizontal expansion is that there are services which you consolidate, you save on cost. There is a manpower you can consolidate and you have. Again, Shalby horizontal expansion, we have 4 hospitals in Ahmedabad, located at various locations of Ahmedabad, catering to the huge crowd. When we talk about the vertical expansion, wherein the vertical expansion, there is a service which one hospital is providing and he is joining or shaking hands with the service provider which is not there. So taking an example, our Ranchi unit. Ranchi is a multi-specialty hospital, or our Lucknow unit, they had a multi-specialty hospital, but they were lacking on the standardized orthopedic services. So Shalby did that expansion and we are providing our orthopedic excellence to those places. So these are the 2 examples of horizontal and vertical expansion. Of course, market penetration is one thing wherein you look at having expansion on board. It is not really a bed of roses. It is just not a cakewalk to have hospital expansion. Everyone wants, I should have 1 hospital to 2 hospitals or 4 hospitals. But it is not that easy. It is a very stringent. It does drain about your energy, your manpower, your finances. And then how you progress into that. Sir has rightly said there is a huge requirement of specialized team who focuses on expansion. There are n number of proposals we do get every day. But the team analyzes what is the feasibility, what is the profitability, because at the end of the day, everyone is going to talk about, as Bali sir said, about EBITDA. What is EBITDA? So we have seen certain expansions wherein they have failed expansions as well. So we have to take out the gist out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. As we have short of time, I think I'll request Dr. Agarwal just to share your experience on the transformation journey of Jivraj Hospital. I believe a lot of you and cry on the Jivraj, on the existing infrastructure development. So maybe you can throw some light on that, please.
Yes, certainly. Very good evening to everyone, and my heartfelt gratitude to Medigen's team for such a wonderful event where we are able to share our knowledge. And I would like to tell about the transformation journey of Jivraj. So when we are talking about expansion, so expansion is internal expansion and external expansion. And internal expansion, as sir has mentioned many a times, the number of beds are vacant, maybe 30 to 40%. So first of all, we should fill up all the beds, whatever strength we have. So in Jivraj, we have focused on quality. So we have got all the accreditation, maybe full hospital accreditation, NABL, NABH, and nursing excellence, NABH for emergency department, NABH for blood donation, blood department, and NABH for research department. And now we are going forward for NABH digital. So my point is that if hospital is providing the quality of care, then our patients become our brand ambassador. And after doing all these things, then infrastructure upgradation is also one of the very most important part of any hospital. And then technology enhancement, the way AI is penetrating in all the sectors. So we should be future ready for use of AI or use of technology. And by use of technology, we can cut down the manpower cost, we can streamline our processes, we can make a hospital lean hospital. When if I say from the perspective of patients, patients are least bothered whether it is trust hospital, whether it is corporate hospital. Now their expectations are very high and they compare everything and they want the quality of care. So this is about internal expansion. And when we talk about external expansion, so we are leveraging our strength in collaborating with other hospitals or other diagnostic centers. There are multiple trust-run OPD services, including diagnostic services. So we are collaborating with them. So as for my opinion, instead of competing with our healthcare leaders, we should complement each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. Moving to Dr. Azhar for the experiences, what you want to share with the audience about your journey of Shanko Hospital.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Team Medigens, for arranging such a wonderful event. I would like to introduce the Shanku's group. Everyone knows that it's Gujarat's first, they have started the first India's water park in 1992. And we have started the Shanku's hospital. It's a Shanku's group of hospitals before 7 years. So, just as sir has rightly said, more than 2,000 hospitals in Ahmedabad city. So almost इंडिया में सारे जितने भी सिटीज़ है इट्स अर्बन सेचुरेशन टाइप फॉर ऑल दी इंडस्ट्रीज सिर्फ हेल्थ केयर का नहीं है कोई भी इंडस्ट्री देखो सिटीज़ में दे आर एट द सेचुरेशन स्टेज नाउ द टाइम इज़ कमिंग फॉर द रूरल इंडिया सो वी हैव स्टार्टेड बिफोर 7 years वी आर डीलिंग मेनली इन द ऑन्कोलॉजी सेक्टर सो ऑन्कोलॉजी सेक्टर में महसाणा में हमारा ऑलमोस्ट सिटी से भी 15 किलोमीटर दूर था सर वॉज वेरी के हॉस्पिटल करना है कैसे करना है वी डोंट नो वी हैव मेट द ग्रुप ऑफ CEOs एंड HR heads and everything. Then we have started, okay, let us begin the hospital, and we are fortunate that we have got a medical director who is a cancer surgeon. So he has given the entire inputs of the cancer department and how the oncology works. So we have identified the oncology points and a very simple things we have done. Sir, oncology में simple रायल्स ट्यूब निकालने के लिए पेशेंट को बनासकाठा थराद बॉर्डर से अहमदाबाद तक आना पड़ता था. It's a very simple thing. So we have started the oncology 360-degree comprehensive cancer treatment in Mehsana. Radiation center, chemotherapy, surgery वो सब लोग दे रहे हैं. But apart from that, we have a one call center. हमारे वहाँ पे कोई भी पेशेंट आता है उसका डेटा रिकॉर्ड होता है ईच एंड एवरी पेशेंट को. कई बार पेशेंट्स रूरल में मैक्सिमम ये होता है सर्जरी कराई कीमो के लिए नहीं आएगा, कीमो कराया कॉम्प्लिकेशन हुआ नहीं लेना, उसको पकड़ के रखना पड़ता है ऑन्कोलॉजी में. पेशेंट फ़ोन नहीं उठा रहा उसके घर पे स्टाफ जाएगा उसको लेके आए कैसे भी करके उसको क्यूरेटिव वाले पेशेंट को क्यूरेटिव में ही रखेंगे. अगर कुछ स्किप हुआ 6 महीने उसका किसी ने फॉलोअप नहीं लिया सर्जरी भी उसकी बेकार हो गई कीमोथेरापी भी बेकार हो गई वो पेशेंट पेलिएटिव में से क्यूरेटिव में जाता है. तो ये रूरल हेल्थ केयर का अभी ऑन्कोलॉजी में ही सीनेरियो आज से 7 साल पहले हमने नॉर्थ गुजरात में देखा था. अभी वो पूरा सीनेरियो चेंज हुआ है और ऑलमोस्ट वी आर गेटिंग अ क्यूरेबल केसेस. देन महसाणा में हमने ऑलमोस्ट 1 साल में ये स्टेज अचीव कर लिया था. देन वी हैव गॉन टू अभी एक्सपांसन यहीं पे 250 बेड डाले या कुछ और एक्सपांड करें. पालनपुर बनासकांठा का एक सिटी है वहाँ पे हमने सर्वे किया कि क्यों ना यहाँ पे एक छोटा हॉस्पिटल स्टार्ट किया जाए. फिर अगेन चैलेंजेस डॉक्टर्स कहाँ से लाएंगे स्टाफ कहाँ से मिलेगा बट वहाँ पे भी हमको सर्वे में ही मिल गया कि देर आर ऑलमोस्ट ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट ऑलरेडी विजिटिंग टू पालनपुर. देन आई हैव अप्रोच्ड हिम कि सर मैं आपको ऑन्कोलॉजी हॉस्पिटल ही देता हूँ जो आयुष्मान भारत से जुड़ा हुआ है. तो इनिशियली वो सीइंग 10 to 12 पेशेंट्स आफ्टर आयुष्मान भारत एम्पेनलमेंट उनका OPD ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 50 पेशेंट्स पर विजिट हो गया. देन दिस मॉडल इज़ वर्किंग एंड करंटली वी हैव 5 units in Gujarat, 2 units in Uttar Pradesh, 1 unit in MP, 1 unit in Rajasthan, and we are coming with 4 radiation machine in all these 4 states. So this is the journey of our Shanku's group of hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the very valued insight. I think one thing which I picked up from this discussion, from all the views, I mean, trust, hospital transformation, and the rural healthcare, it's about the onco. I think onco, we have recently I've seen that Ahmedabad and Gujarat is becoming even the cancer capital, and there is enough and more opportunities to do some valuable and good work in the industry of the oncology, oncosurgery, and all the treatments about the cancer. So I think this is the take-home message what I'm gathering here from this fruitful discussion. Thank you so much for being so lovely, audience. With that, we'll just close through this panel discussion. We'll move to the second session. Thank you so much.